Alright guys, for anyone who's watching, this is the making of Keys to the Studio, and we're going to see what we got here. So this map took me 3 days to make, and it took me a lot of hours and a lot of years to master this editor. When I was a kid, I used to just mess around this editor and play with all the functionalities and stuff and see what they do and try to get better at it. Just giving you different variations of different objects here and stuff I used to make the map. So this is a creator called Trials Fusion, and you just use you use the imagination to use different different objects to make stuff, right? So you see here, and then the best part about it is these triggers and events right here, which they're very useful. Or you could do a lot of mechanics and core mechanics of the game and everything, like filters, delayed impulses, intervals, distance operators, and data sources, linear and game character speed. You see all that, position X. And then when you get all that down, you could actually make some cool maps, right? And we're gonna load up the map right now so we could show you a little introduction here. So here you see I have very different versions here. I'm going to show you the version you guys saw the most, which is this one. But we'll see this one right here instead, because it looks easier to understand. So this is how the course was made. It's pretty complicated. So right here is we got an off switch for all our mechanics to turn off when you hit this switch point right here. So it's a state event that turns everything off, and I marked all the player cards marked here. This is a music event to end the music at this point. On the on-hit the red arrows mean they're all triggered by something, and the blue arrows mean they're all going to send a signal to turn something on or off, or on and off automatically. And the green arrows are more mathematical inputs. I'm sending to the writer some equations and stuff. And basically what you have here is you have like different icons and symbols to simplify what this functionality does. So this is an impulse, it's going to send impulses, and since it's delayed impulses, it's going to delay an impulse by it, just delay it by whatever time you could set it. See, I set this one by 12.4 seconds, which is 744 frames ticks. And so that's basically what it is. These are off for a reason, because these are intervals that are turned off, because this is going to turn them on, and then turns them on at the right timing. You know what I mean? At the right timing. Meaning that they're off to turn them on, and then they'll be disabled. So basically what happens here is it's going to play a song, and then at the right time it's going to generate its own song. So it's kind of like teaching a machine how to play with a band kind of thing. And so basically it's going to send an impulse, it's going to reset when enabled, delayed after one impulse, and then shut off. So its mission is only to send one impulse, and then this impulse gets traveled through this and into this and into this and into that, and then it will stop at off. It'll go to here and then delayed and off. It's just a sequence. I don't want to get too much into it. This is the piano right here. I don't want to make this video too long. The piano is each and every key you use is position Y. So position Y means in this one it goes down because there's two objects parented or glued together, right? And then when you go through all those yellow with black stripes, those are trigger points. So when the rider goes across, it will activate each key simultaneously. It's just you know what I mean? And then I have to program all that. So since this is an animation that will work at a specific time, I'll have the checkbox disabled, and then a state event to say when should this animation happen on what time. And then you have the sound event that will play a classic piano D with the pitch turned up a little bit. And then you just gotta repeat the whole thing for all 14 keys that I've well presented here. And then this is just the data source, right? For the animation to happen, I say at -1 second. Is it -1 or I just touched it? Alright. And then it will play at instantly. This is an interval. You need this, this, and this to make an animation within this editor. Okay, and then there's a lot of arrows going all separate ways. Now this is the best part about the map, which is the physics size, meaning that my physics bubble is increased to 90 kilometers spherical range, meaning that the physics will be exceeded with the physics hinge connected to this drum right here, which is a physics hinge. Alright, the joint will be somewhere along the drum line right here. Right, and this is a trigger point for the snare to activate the sound. These are two camera events, so if the player either crashes or fails, for production value, it will show the overview of the whole instrument with a custom camera that's set at cut and interpolate. And these are all the sound effects for it, right? These are the drums. I can copy and paste the drum ring, you see? I could rotate it. And basically how I made the drums and any other instrument is just a bunch of pieces, as I said, together. See, I'm going to grab these axes and rotate them for you, see? Now I could just delete because I don't want that there. Now, the guitar is the same way. I used these sound sources right here, all programmed with different pitch soundings. Everything that moves in this world has an animation. Right here I set those pegs to adjust the strings, the tone of the strings, which is position yaw, and I set it to -360 degrees rotation and a duration time of 4 seconds. So every 360 degree spin is 4 seconds, and then it will be looping, so it will be an infinite loop of rotations. Then you have more ringing bell with adjustable pitch to make it sound like an xylophone. Also you have the trumpet effects. With an effect, the effect is a good part of the world. I used a smoke jet screen, and I'll show you a visual example right here. I'm going to turn it on. You see? It means it blows the horn and it turns off automatically on a timer. And how I did that is I just used a delayed impulse. An on delayed impulse only lasts about 1 second, and it turns it off automatically. And same with the sound source, but the sound source is easy because the sound source is just one continuous foghorn, right? And this is the key main factors of video game design: hidden and visible targets, meaning that targets that will be there and will not be there, or will be there later on, will be all on a trigger. You can make anything hide or visible during the game on set timers and switches. So I obviously pinpoint, you see that microphone that fell down? There's an invisible microphone that's already down. So when you go to the next part of the game, the microphone that was on is now down, but there's another one that's already down. So you gotta kind of like trick the players that it's down, right? There's obviously other ways of doing this, but this is the way I chose to do it. Then you have the anything that has yaw, pitch, and bank is spinning animation, and anything as X, Y, and Z is objects that go back and forth, like the like this. You see the spinning animation? I just pressed play, and it will play the animations. You see, linear, 360 degrees, loop, 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 and it plays a certain duration. This is another one I want to talk about. Is the light sources. Now we got toggle light sources with intervals. We got color loops here. So basically, just because the light source turns on doesn't mean the color turns on. So what I did is they both have light sources, which is the light that reflects off the metal. Then you have to adjust the color. So this one is at every 2 milliseconds, and this color will loop back and forth. So it's a loop. I'll show you more visual example here. See, this one is at every 1 second, right? It will go light on, off, and then this one will be the light will change to black, white, black, or black, green, black, green, black, green. And the reason why I chose black is because when something when the glow effect is on, there's no option to turn it off. So what I did is a smart idea is I just turned the color to black, so the glow effect is still in effect. But when it's black, there's no glow because it's black. So what it does, it goes black, it delays 1 second, and then switches to green. So it's black, green, black, green, black, green, and on an infinite loop. But all this to happen is these right here that are turned on, right? When the game starts, this will turn off, and then says disable after 1 impulse. So this is going to send an impulse to the delayed impulse. Its mission is just to send 1 signal to this. When it sends this 1 signal to this one right here will be disabled. Then all it has to do is drag the impulse and just do an infinite loop. Then the impulse will go here, here, waits 1 second, go here, waits 1 second, go here, waits 1 second, go here, and it just keeps doing that infinitely until the game ends. And that's how you create an infinite loop with signals. The record player pretty much plays the same thing, except there's more light sources and more effect. So basically what I did is I had another couple of color loops that work the same way, but these don't have light sources. They don't need light sources. The color represents a light source, you see? It looks like a light source, but since I have the glow effect, because if you have too many lights on the map, then you run into performance issues, meaning that it becomes laggy and then it's horrible. It's really, really bad. Animations cannot, unless you're in space, but we're not in space right now. So we cannot have any frame rate drops here. So these will not do in frame rate drops. So these are different intervals, sending different signals at different times. And these are the spinning icons for the spinning animations. This right here, this object right here, is a bunch of objects glued together. The joint is right here, and it is basically moving by the joint. So it's a whole thing moving by one joint at this is the input right here, bank, and it's moving at 50. So it's moving at 50 end value and 5 seconds duration, looping, invert second half, right? Meaning that it's like almost like a door that opens and closes, and it just keeps doing that rotation an infinite amount of times. And I had to use a joint. So this has a joint right here to joint this whole thing together, a group of objects together. The speaker speaks for itself. It's just going back and forth. It's just a floating piece that looks like, but I never did it from that perspective because then it would look bad, right? Everything pretty much works the same. I just used a bunch of objects here. Literally a bunch of objects. I'm not even joking here, okay? Just to use my imagination. And pretty much I've made something amazing. I'm just undoing my instructions here, so I'll revert back to the same. And remember, in this editor, I have my bar right here, which is yellow. I could duplicate infinitely amount of objects as I want. See, tree, duplicate, 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 you see? Now since I have all those trees, I can have as much as I want, but my orange bar or yellow bar will change color, means I'm running close to my budget. And remember, it's not about having the max space, it's about how well your track runs too, right? So I just used my imagination and did different camera perspective. This is a joint right here. This red hinge, this is a joint, right? These are some bongo drums. You could take this whole drum and save it to your inventory. This is like a bunch of pieces together. And see how the drum is? To really, really kill your perspective here, this drum is layered here, you see? You have this drum, and then you have this drum. And if you really think about it, it looks like a drum, even though they're both together, because I didn't have anything bigger, so I had to layer it to make it look like a drum. So you always got to use your imagination for stuff like that. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone because I'm not going to save it. It's going to be floating in the air there. This has a bunch of freaking, for the mixer, you know how mixers are advanced and they control all your sound inputs, kind of like the brain of music. Well, I have to program the brain. Okay, and this is all my animations. I have probably 25 plus light sources at different intervals. All those sticks moving up and down are all on animations. All those buttons are actually rotating. You don't really see it. I'm going to zoom in here. See, they're all being rotated. And that's going up and down. These are different animation sequences you could use for different types of animations and different types of layering, almost like a bunch of signals. And if I move up and down, you could see the complexity of this contraption just move. It takes a lot to make a video game, if you had no idea. This is my massive harp, okay, many different pieces. And then right here, I call this magnetic force. So at a certain time, this force field will send the wire flying into the sky, and I programmed it at size of 20, 13,471 directional force input. So I have to measure how much the rider weighs and then apply the force to make him flying higher. Usually an object, like if I select this one, this little tiny piece right here, if I go into the object property, it weighs 10,000 kilograms, which in the video game world is not a lot. It goes up to 1.5 million kilograms. And then you have this giant these giant spheres. You see these huge ass rings? These are called area effectors. So this editor has pre-made mountains and trees that I don't even want. I want to make my own stuff. So there's a tool that can delete everything it's surrounding in one click. So pretty much I call this the area effector. I could increase it or decrease it, and then I can remove trees, shrubs, grass, base world objects, and all that stuff, right? But I can't delete my own objects. If I have to delete my own objects, I have to delete it automatically, which is by going like this. Or I could just say undo and say, oh, I screwed up. But then I could say redo if I know I didn't want to do it. So there's always an option for that. I'm going to say undo again, right? And this is my violin. I could take this whole thing and then save it to a subcategory in my menu called favorites. You see, now I have a different select of favorites here. Any animation that's already pre-programmed I have here. Cameras with filters. Night pre-configured camera. Spinning animation. I even have the keys linked letters together so I don't have to rewrite the whole word again. Underwater cams. Underwater gravity. The Walking Dead, that's from my other maps. Bass guitars, trees, shrubs, groups of trees, missiles, a train, you know what I mean? It's just inventory of stuff. So I could save this entire guitar right now and save it to my inventory, which is pretty damn cool. But then I have to glue the whole thing, and what you do is you just... There's an area for selecting hundreds of objects together, which is called Area Selector. Means I can grab here, I can select all this, and then I can grab this whole thing, you see? And I could move it around. Now, this right here is a fall area. It's good for production value because I don't want the rider to get stuck down here and then die. So I'm going to put death barriers, which fall barriers to make it better for the audience. This is an invisible rock. I could turn it on, or I could turn it off. There's a switch that will turn it off and on automatically for visual glitch purposes. My grass was glitching from a distance, so I had to put that there to make it look nice so you don't see the glitch. Just another trick in video game design, hidden invisible object events. These are just a bunch of sound sources. Again, I pre-programmed the accordion to sound and the pitch to go up and down. And this is the horn that sends you flying. We have a bunch of following cameras here that will follow the rider as the rider goes out into the distance. This is force that sends the rider flying, and the force is at 7,798, and then when the rider gets sent flying, this force is always on, so it's going to send the object flying, or the rider flying, up and onwards into that direction, and then the force is readjusted to 8,000 force. So it's going to go and down and then go flying through the air all the way to here. I'm going to hide these rocks because these rocks is another trick. This is the next part of the map that you cannot see yet. That's actually through the rocks. This is a giant trigger zone. This is a portal. And this is an event. This is the next area where the horn blasts you to heaven. And I just found this effect. I don't even know what it's called. Let me see what it's called. It's called Energy Shield. And these energy shields represent angel wings. And it blasts you to the horn is so loud it blasts you to heaven, and you're in heaven, and then you have to ride on all the angel wings and finish the track. And this is my observation of it. And then you have dust and clouds, and then I customized my own skybox, which is the area effector. Now we're in heaven, see? Always show visual effect. Abled. Alright, let's have it abled. So this is pretty much what heaven looks like. In my perception, I don't know if this is how it looks like. This is what you believe in, I guess. But, and that's basically my way of saying it artistically. Because I'm not sure. So, I hope you like this map. I hope this was a great musical map. Now I gotta go turn this off or I'm gonna get lost. This, by the way, is turned on. What the hell is going on? Alright. Oh, and that's basically how you make a world in Trials. So, thank you all for watching. I hope this would be a tutorial for you guys in the future to understand how 3D and video game design works. And this is just another variation of it on an editor. Hopefully in the future I'll achieve my dream and make my own video games, right? But for now I'll keep practicing in the Trials editor. And for all intents and purposes, I'm out, and this is Andre, and thanks for watching the making of Keys to the Studio map. And this map took me a week to make, and I enjoyed making it. I loved making it. I hope you guys enjoy watching it. And maybe this may inspire another group of audience in the future. Maybe another kid can look at this and say, wow, I want to do my own music map too. And then there you go. But until then, this map will be a monument of surprise, and I think it will inspire more video game companies to be more creative with their games and to sell better, because to make a good game is to make it well, to make it for everybody, so everyone enjoys it. So I have a regular version, an easy version, and a hard version, so it's good for everybody, right? So in the real, whenever I make my real game, I will make this again, but until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you possibly in the near future when I make my real game. Alright, so thanks to Giza Studio, it inspired me to make this. I've been going there for almost 10 years, playing music with everybody, and it's really good. Alright, so as much as I don't like goodbyes, goodbye.